Hello, everybody. Welcome to Amazing You. My name is Dr. Ranita Nakodi. I am your host, and today I have the great pleasure to introduce you to Leon Lategan, CEO of the School of Entrepreneurship, CEO and founder of Real Entrepreneur Academy, and South Africa #1 optimization specialist. Welcome, Leon, to
Hello,
Amazing.
Ronnie. Nice to see you. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for being here. So I've got a few questions to ask you, Leon. Can you tell the audience, can you tell us briefly about your story?
Briefly about my story. I think maybe the only thing that's pertinent is when I left school, I went off to university, as the lucky few of us are able to go to university.
Yes.
And I was one of those lucky ones whose parents could afford university. I was in a way forced to go to university. When I say forced, it was the expected thing. Amongst my fellow students, we were at that level that you go to university after school. I proceeded to university not really knowing what to study.
Okay.
And I couldn't get into the one thing that I wanted to study. So I had to start with a Bachelor of Social Science in order to get into a brand new degree that they launched that year called the Bachelor of Business Science.
Okay.
So I passed my first year in social science. Second year, I went into business science. It's a 4-year course. And in the third year of my academic year, I failed. I was specializing in marketing.
Okay.
And I failed my third year in marketing, and I dropped out. I subsequently specialized in marketing, which is the interesting part.
Yeah.
And it's all self-taught. I have no degrees. I have no diplomas. I've been very lucky to travel to 21 cities around the world to coach to multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs on the subject of entrepreneurship, marketing, and conversion optimization. And so my story is that of someone who failed the thing he was studying and now specializes in the thing that he failed.
Yes.
And I think hence why the School of Entrepreneurship and the Real Entrepreneur Academy, both of those businesses came to fruition because of my history. And if I think of what I learned at university in terms of marketing, universities can't keep up with what's going on in marketing, and you don't have to study 4 years to become a marketing specialist in today's world. Yeah, the environment is too quick. It moves too fast.
Yeah.
So to sit behind a desk for 4 years trying to learn how to market something is an absolute waste of time.
Yeah.
So that's my story, Ronnie.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Leon. And what has inspired you to start your business?
Well, it depends which one. I've started a lot of businesses. I think at one stage I worked for a big media company, which was the largest media company in Africa, called Independent News. It was a listed company. I was a CEO in South Africa. And I used to get lots of companies coming to us to advertise on our platform. So we had the biggest website at one point in South Africa, and 14 newspapers, and people would come to us to advertise. And I used to see how they threw money at marketing.
Okay.
And then when I decided to leave that company, I decided to start a digital marketing agency to actually show companies how to really advertise properly. We launched with search as a search engine optimization company, because that to me was brand new in the world. Everyone was looking at search engines. I was one of 4 companies in South Africa that only did search engine optimization. Today it is over 10,000 probably. And so what inspired me to start helping corporates at that stage was because I think they were wasting their money on marketing. And then my journey continued where I I still work with corporates, but to a lesser degree.
Okay.
And I started helping entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs can make the decision, whereas corporates, you have to work through lots of red tape. And with entrepreneurs, I could get immediate results. So what inspired me there was when I started seeing if people started marketing correctly, their businesses started growing. So I have lots and lots of case studies of companies marketing correctly, and my case studies and my testimonials just keep inspiring me more and more to help more and more entrepreneurs.
Right. Thank you. And what has been for you, Leon, the greatest challenge in your life? And how did you overcome that?
Sure. What is the greatest challenge in my life was being a failure at university and wondering what is going to happen to this young man in those days.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a failure at university, what do you do? Somehow or another, I think I was born an entrepreneur. I don't think you need to be born an entrepreneur, but I was born an entrepreneur, and I started my mind runs right, and I look for ideas every day, and ideas pop into my head. So I was just one of those lucky ones who kept on having ideas pop into my head, and something inside of me was always about improving things. Okay. And so that's exactly what a conversion optimization specialist does. They improve things. So I think my challenge was getting over the fact that I'd failed university and I was a failure in my father's eyes, more particularly. In fact, he didn't speak to me for 2 years after that. So that was quite a knock as a young boy. And then I got into an industry at that point. I got into the health and fitness industry, and I studied a course in sports science and gym instruction. And he didn't like that at all, because he didn't want his son to be a gym instructor. But yet I got the highest marks that they had in the 15 previous years. And what that indicated to me was, if you don't do what you love, you're going to struggle. And I loved that fitness industry, and I was in there for a long time. And the only reason I am where I am today is because someone saw me in a bar and said, "Hey, they've got this job for me. It's in the internet." And I went, "What is that?" And they said, "People are becoming multi-billionaires." And I said, "Okay, I'm in." And so I left the sports industry for the internet industry, and I've been there ever since.
Oh, thank you. I think it's very important, like you said, to do what you love and not what other people expectations of you, of what they want you to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think our youth, particularly where parents are forcing them to do or go to university or go to college, or not allowing them to be an artist or a singer or a musician because there's no money there. I mean, there's money everywhere. And it's not about just making money. It's about being happy in what you do. And I mean, we've seen artists. Yes, someone will say, "Well, you're a local artist. You're not going to be the next Michael Jackson." But why not?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson also started where you started. So it doesn't matter what your industry is. If you love your industry, the chances of you being more successful in that increases, on a compound basis in terms of short-circuiting your success. But if you do something you're not really happy with, you could make a lot of money, but you could be unhappy, you could stress, and you could die of a heart attack. Simple as that.
Yes. That's very true. I think the audience will be able to relate to your message today about doing what you are passionate and what you love, and not
absolutely,
and not doing what other people, what the parents expect of you. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Thank you, Leon. And who has been the most influential person in your life, and why, Leon?
Yeah, I think that's very difficult. Certainly not my father, because he wasn't in my life for 20 years. Yeah, to be honest with you, there's no particular person. I've been very much do my own thing, work on my own, make my own way. If you had to say if there's someone out there in the world that I look up to and I resonate with his message, that would be Tony Robbins.
Okay.
Because I think he's a very powerful speaker. I think he's got incredible insights and knowledge on what he does.
Yes.
I don't think he's full of fanfare, although some people say he's a real rah-rah guy, but he's a rah-rah guy with real implementation and real results.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if he's a rah-rah guy, that's fine with me. But I think his message resonates with me, the way his outlook at life resonates with me, the way I've not only watched him in a business sense, I've actually watched him when he does his personal mastery, where he helps people out of crisis.
Yes.
And he's incredible. The way he thinks so simplified, his message is simplified, he's very logical. So when he tells you something, you go, wow, that's so logical, but we never thought about that.
Yeah.
So I would say he hasn't inspired me. He's just someone I look up to and I learn from. But there isn't really someone that I can go, that's the person. It's not like my mother got me to do this or my father no, I just did what I did as an individual.
Thank you. I think that's great because Tony Robbins started from very humble beginnings himself to become who he is now. Yeah.
Very. Yeah, he was a janitor. So, yes. Hello. Yeah. If a janitor can become a Tony Robbins, then anyone could do it.
Yeah, we can become anybody we want to become. And it's up to the individual to be that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
You don't have to be the next Tony Robbins. You just got to be successful in your life, and everyone's level of success is different.
Yeah.
So, and everyone's level of happiness is, some people would like 4,000 a month, someone 10,000, and someone to 100,000. What I admire is when someone says, I'm making 20,000 a month and I'm happy with that.
Yes.
And that's it. And that's all they want. They don't have to become the corporate head or the next Tony Robbins. They're happy where they are. Absolutely. And I think that's the most, I'm not all about money. I used to be as a youngster. It was all about making money. But now in the last 3 years, my businesses are more purpose-driven than money-driven.
Right. Okay. And what quote, Leon, has helped you to cope in challenging times?
Whatever it takes.
Okay. Right.
That's the only quote that's
a great one. Yeah. So what would you say, Leon, to encourage young people who are facing some tough times, whether it's young people or adults, anybody facing some tough times at this time? What would you like to tell them to encourage them?
Yeah, it's everyone has their own story.
Yeah.
Even if on the external, everyone looks happy, especially on social media, you see people and they look raw and fabulous, and next minute you hear they committed suicide or something.
Yeah.
So, and this is not really business related, but I think, and I've also been there to a point where I was like, what now? So I've experienced it. And I think when you experience being at a low, you need to reach out to people. I think that's the most critical. You need to find that person who is the closest to you that you can see them. I mean, I have five friends on Facebook who have committed suicide. Okay. Which is quite radical, actually. I mean, and when I look back at them, I never could see it coming, ever. And I think people are embarrassed to feel like they are anxious, or stress is a killer, and people don't understand that. Since I was in the fitness industry, stress is a killer, and people really, they think stress is not a disease. It's a disease. It's a killer. I mean, and it leads to anxiousness and anxiety. Yes. And when you feel that, as soon as you start feeling that, and I'll give you an example. I've some people on my Facebook account have put up posts going, "No, this is it. I'm done." And they put a post up like that. Now, that says to me they're reaching out. There's something going on. Now, I wouldn't do that, right? But they're doing it. And then I see the comments, and the comments are, "Oh, lots of love, sending you strength, sending you love." What I do is I pick up the phone and I call them. Okay. And I'll say, "How are you doing? What's going on?" Or if I don't have their number, I inbox them on Facebook. And I've done it 3 times with 3 people in the last 2 years. And each of those people have said to me, "Thank you. My best friends go sending you love, sending you strength, whereas you've picked up the phone and reached out to me." The one woman, 2 of the women I've never even met. And the one I'm actually meeting in a week's time. And I can't wait to meet her because she seems like such a lovely person. Yeah. So if people are going through a hard time, they need to reach out to people close to them. And I'm not talking from a business perspective.
Yes.
From a business perspective, they need to reach out to someone who can help them in business. And that's exactly what I do. That's my purpose, is to help entrepreneurs. But I think it's more than just business. It's personal. Mm-hmm. And you need to reach out to someone you feel comfortable talking to, and you need to talk to people. You need to be vulnerable. Yeah. If you're not vulnerable, you're going to hold it inside, and then you're going to do something silly.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think as men, especially as men, we are full of ego. So we are very scared to be vulnerable, and to show our peers and our family that we are actually taking strain.
Yeah.
So my advice would be, reach out to someone who cares for you, someone who loves you, someone who you love, and talk to them. And if you have to go stay at someone's house while you're going through that, stay there. Even if you're sleeping in the bed next to them, doesn't matter. It's just because sometimes you just need someone close. Yes. You can't say to someone, oh, sending you lots of love. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And that's not going to help them if they're going through a really bad time. It means nothing. Reach out to people if you see something like that.
Yes, thank you, Leon. I think that's a great message, because when people are in tough times, they don't know where to go, what to do. They sit with their pain, with their suffering. And that's why it's important to reach out to others, to ask for help. Asking for help is a great thing, even if it's hard. Even if it's hard, yeah.
Absolutely. And go to your best friend. And I can tell you a story where it applied to my life. When we had a problem in our family, at one point, all my siblings worked for my dad, excepting myself, and they had a bit of a fallout. And we brought a psychologist in, and she said to me, she was just talking to me. I wasn't in the business, so she said, "What shall we talk about?" I said, "I don't know. Whatever you want to talk about." So she said, "Tell me a bit about you," and da 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 da. And then she said to me, I was at the age of about 40, and she said, "You're not married, no kids?" I said, "No." She said, "Why not?" We chatted about that, and then she said, "Tell me, if a friend," I can't remember how she came to this, but she said, if a male friend came to you and started crying because he was going through tough times, how would you react? So I said, I'd give him a hug, and I'd say what's wrong, and chat to him and help him. And she said, "And how do you think, what impact would that have on your life with him, on your relationship?" And I said, "It would probably make us closer." Yeah. And she said, "So Leon, tell me, would you cry in front of a friend?" And I said, "No ways." And that's when I realized she just walked me straight into a trick. She tricked me, because she basically was saying, "Oh, so why won't you cry in front of a male friend?" And I said, "Because then you'd probably think I'm stupid or silly or weak." And she said, "Oh, but it's funny, you would let them cry, but you won't cry. So why do you think you're better than them?" And it was a real eye-opener, because we don't want to be vulnerable. And I've never wanted to be vulnerable. So I think that's absolutely critical, in that you need to be vulnerable as a male, especially. I think women are easier for them to be vulnerable, but not men.
Yes, yeah. I think what you are saying will go right to the heart of many people today. Yes, to the audience today. Thank you, Leon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So tell us briefly about your business, and how can people contact you, Leon?
So I have I have three businesses. The one is the School of Entrepreneurship.co.co. So it's schoolofentrepreneurship.co. And that is for startups, people who want to start a business, students who've dropped out of university, students who've graduated but don't know what to do, students coming out of school, don't know what to do, someone who just wants to start a new business, they've got a great idea, someone who wants to leave the corporate market and start a business, someone wants a side hustle, anyone who wants to start a business, we have the School of Entrepreneurship.co. Then we have the RealEntrepreneurAcademy.com. That's for existing entrepreneurs. And I'd just say to people, rather just go look at the website. There's too much to tell you. And that's for existing entrepreneurs. In fact, that's where I met you.
Yes.
And there I train entrepreneurs from 52 countries around the world, online. Everything is online. Everything I do is online. So is the school online. And then I have my one-on-one consulting. And that's my website, leonlategan.com. And that's one-on-one with people who want more personal attention, and also with corporates who want to talk about their business growth.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leon. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey,
Pleasure.
and what your business is about. And
thank you, Ronnie, for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the audience for being here, for listening, for watching. And I wish you, Leon, a lot of success in what you do and in inspiring and in changing the lives of many, many more people to come all around
Awesome.
the world.
Thank you, Ronnie. Take care.
Thank you.
And thanks for the opportunity.
My pleasure.